After years of friendship, my best friend's girlfriend accused me of trying to steal him. When I refused to back down, I never expected her obsession would end with me in the hospital and facing a lifetime of pain. Miles and I have known each other since we were just 2 years old because our parents are best friends. I wouldn't say that Miles is my best friend, though. He's a good friend and we hang out occasionally, but we mostly see each other during major holidays due to our family's close bond. Now that we're in our early 20s, things have taken a different turn. The trouble began with a silly childhood memory. When we were 8, we had a wedding play in after-school care. I played the bride and Miles played the groom. It was a play filled with terrible songs and awkward kids stumbling around. Naturally, our parents recorded everything, and we each have a picture from that day hanging on our family walls. Miles is currently dating Lindy. They met 3 years ago and started officially dating last year. However, Lindy does not seem to like me at all. Whenever we end up together at a celebration, she makes snide comments about me being the typical girl best friend. One time, she even suggested that I secretly wanted to sleep with Miles. I really have no idea where she got that idea. We have separate friend groups and busy schedules, and apart from our monthly catch-ups over food, we hardly see each other. Things escalated when Lindy stumbled upon that old wedding play picture. Her comments grew worse, and she even started sending me DMs on Instagram, saying she knew what game I was playing. I brought this up to Miles once, but he just told me to give her some time. Then, his birthday rolled around last Saturday, and I was invited to the celebration. Lindy sent me a message saying she'd be supervising me, and that since it was their first birthday together as a couple, I wasn't allowed to take up his time. Honestly, I was fed up with the whole situation. I tried to talk to Miles again, but he gave me the same response. In the end, I decided to skip the party. Before it started, I sent a quick message saying, "Sorry, I can't come," and mentioned that my mother would bring his present. Now Miles is upset with me for missing his birthday. Lindy is furious that I did everything about myself, and my parents are disappointed I missed what they called a family function. So, am I the jerk in this situation? Edit. I didn't share the messages with anyone because I didn't want to escalate the situation any further than it already was. I really didn't want to turn anyone against Lindy, especially since she's a new presence in Miles' life. That would just complicated things for both of us, and I thought that simply talking about it would be the more mature approach. My parents aren't mad at me or bombarding my phone with messages like you often hear about on Reddit. They, along with Miles' parents, were just bummed out that this was the first birthday I've never missed. As for why Lindy feels jealous, I really have no clue. Neither of our parents ever encouraged us to get together, and there were never any jokes about it. I genuinely believe they wouldn't want that kind of relationship for us. The wedding play picture is displayed in our living rooms because our parents loved it so much, especially since it was our first play. Update. I'll clarify some points in this update. After I posted, I had a conversation with Miles. Initially, he was kind of upset and thought I was overreacting. For more details, you can refer to my last post. Eventually, we decided it might be best to take some distance while he figures everything out. I didn't want to deal with any extra stress from petty drama. Then I talked to my parents and explained the whole situation. They were really upset about how Lindy treated me. While they made it clear they wouldn't get involved, it was nice to vent and get that off my chest. Things were quiet until Tuesday evening. Since Wednesday was a holiday, some friends and I decided to hit up an Irish pub for karaoke. At one point, my best friend and I went to the restroom to freshen up our makeup. That's when Lindy and a few of her friends walked in and out of cornered us. It was definitely not pretty. They started loudly discussing man stealing bitches and how some women were just born to be homewreckers. They went on to mock the idea of being pathetic enough to pretend to be a guy's friend just to sleep with him, and they claimed that pick-me's are the absolute worst. They kept physically pushing us toward the area where the hand dryers were, all while pretending we weren't even there. My best friend finally reached her breaking point and just pushed through them, pulling me along behind her. We were almost at our table when Lindy snuck up right behind me and yanked my hair, causing me to fall backward onto one of those metal footrests. It hurt so badly that I started seeing spots and almost felt like I was going to faint. Then, to make matters worse, a girl next to Lindy poured a beer all over me. Honestly, everything after that is a blur. There was a chaotic scuffle, and somehow someone ended up dropping a heavy pint glass right on my head. The next thing I knew, Lindy and her friends were escorted away by the police, while I was rushed to the hospital. My parents were absolutely furious, and so were Miles' parents. They both came to the hospital to see me. I found out that I had a severe concussion, a fractured nose, and the worst part was that I also had a hairline fracture in my back. I ended up staying in the hospital until yesterday morning. Miles tried calling me multiple times, but according to my parents, they told him not to visit me right now. I also received an official notice saying that a legal case had been opened against Lindy and another girl for not just assault, but also public disturbance at the bar. So now I have to deal with all that legal stuff as well. Eventually, I managed to talk to Miles. Long story short, the people who mentioned that Lindy was isolating him were right. It was a clear sign of an abusive relationship. He opened up about all the hurtful things she would say to him that made him feel awful. Apparently, she would freak out over her problems and take all her anger out on him. She even scratched and bit him when she was mad. Our conversation ended with both of us crying and apologizing for everything that had happened. We agreed to be closer again and to communicate more often about our feelings. He ended up breaking up with Lindy and is currently staying at my parents' house to get away from her. Update 2. I wanted to provide an immediate update and will go into more details later. First, there's been an official court date set for my case against Lindy. It took a solid 2 months to get everything arranged, and it's still 3 months away, but at least it's something to look forward to. Our lawyer mentioned that Lindy probably won't end up going to jail since this is her first offense. If she does get jailed, it likely won't be for more than 3 months. Most probably, she'll just have to pay a fine equivalent to 100 days of her income or something like that. I've decided to let my dad handle all of this because I really don't have the mental energy for it right now. Additionally, there's a second lawsuit happening at the same time since I am now legally classified as chronically ill. The hairline fracture didn't just heal. It has developed into a condition that causes me daily pain. Some days are worse than others, but not a single day goes by where my pain isn't at least a level 2 on the scale. Because of this, I haven't been able to work. Currently, my insurance covers 75% of my previous income, and my workplace makes up the rest. But I'm worried I might get fired soon. As a result, my insurance has filed a claim against Lindy for my lost wages. Right now, I'm not in contact with Miles. I tried to be supportive, but being disabled because of his jealous ex-girlfriend has left me feeling bitter toward him. He was definitely a victim in all of this, but I can't help feeling like I can't live my life properly now, and I partially blame him for that. To help me cope, I'm in therapy to work through my feelings, and I've also picked up some new hobbies. I've started writing more and am looking into taking courses or online classes to keep myself busy. On a more positive note, Miles' parents have been incredibly apologetic and supportive. His mother has been an absolute saint. She even offered to drive me around whenever I need it, and I've actually become friends with her. We went to see Deadpool and Wolverine together, and since she's a stay-at-home wife, we have plenty of time to hang out. Interestingly, one of Lindy's friends reached out through my lawyer, offering to give a testimony against her own friend. She even sent a letter apologizing for the situation. To summarize, Lindy had told her that I was bullying her and that Miles had supposedly cheated on her with me before. Update 3. Here we are again, and while things have moved along, I've got to be honest, I'm just really tired of everything. The first court date, it came and went. The case was my insurance company versus Lindy, and surprise, surprise, she lost. Now she's on the hook for most of my lost wages, which is nice, I guess. I didn't have to be there for the entire process, and I was really grateful for that because I've had more than enough of this mess. As for the criminal case, we still don't even know if we'll actually end up going to court for that one. My lawyer is handling it all, and I've pretty much handed everything over to my dad because, honestly, I'm over it. I'm no legal expert, and after Lindy's loss in the insurance case, she's in a bad spot. Her legal team is apparently scrambling to do some serious damage control, but at this point, that's really not my problem. More of Lindy's so-called friends have crawled out from their hiding places to give testimonies. It turns out this isn't her first rodeo. Another girl came forward with evidence of Lindy pulling similar stunts back in high school. This poor girl was just sitting next to Lindy's then boyfriend, minding her own business, when Lindy went completely off the rails, starting rumors and even spreading breadcrumbs on her table to trigger her celiac disease. Yeah, she's that kind of psycho. No one could prove it back then. But now that all these friends are popping up, the truth is coming to light. And believe me, these girls didn't suddenly have some moral awakening. They're just terrified of getting fired or having anything negative on their records. The receipts are surfacing, and it's getting uglier by the day. Now, let's dive into Miles because that's a whole other dumpster fire. I'm still not speaking to him. It turns out he knew for a while that Lindy was threatening him with bad things if he didn't cut me off and made his parents stop talking to me. And this idiot just laughed it off. He thought she meant breaking up with him or something innocent like that. But no, she was dead serious. She even started stalking me and one of her cousins, creating a fake profile to send cryptic messages to her cousin. What did Miles do? He just talked her down, like that would solve anything. She kept giving him ultimatums, and he just rolled with it. So yeah, I'm even angry at him now. He knew she was unhinged and didn't do a damn thing about it while I got dragged through the mud. Finally, his dad got involved and dragged him to the police, where they filed reports about all the nonsense Lindy pulled. They now have evidence from the stuff with his cousin and even photos from when Lindy got physical with him. So at least something is happening on that front. But if you ask me, it's way too little, too late. As for Lindy, well, she's gone completely radio silent. Except for her TikTok, of course. My friends keep sending me her cringy videos, and honestly, it's kind of disturbing to watch. She's acting like nothing's happening in her life, as if it isn't all unraveling around her. She's got a new boyfriend now, and they're making those awful lip-sync videos together, which is just cringeworthy. I think she's living at his place, but who knows? Maybe her parents cut her off. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, and the guy? Yeah, one of my friends did a little digging and looked at him up. Let's just say he fits right into her pattern. As my grandmother would say, there's a lid for every pot. On the health front, unfortunately, I still don't have anything good to report. My pain hasn't improved at all, and I'm currently waiting for a surgery appointment, which looks like it'll be scheduled for early 2025. The pain has started radiating to my left hip now, which is just fantastic. I feel like that sad little dog from the Black Cauldron, just defeated and out of spells. But hey, silver lining, I've made friends with a few of the nurses who work with me. One of them even braids my hair for me, which is kind of sweet and makes my days a little brighter. I'm also seeing a physiotherapist regularly, mostly for massages at this point. It helps, but on some days, it feels like I'm just patching myself together with duct tape. The therapist suggested I start doing pool exercises, so now I'm enrolled in an aqua aerobics class for seniors. No, there isn't a disability-specific class available in my town, and honestly, I didn't feel like looking too hard for one. But let me tell you, the old ladies are a riot. They really know how to have a good time. Well, except for one who always looks miserable. But honestly, I can't say much about that since I'm not exactly glowing with joy either. Now for a piece of good news, I finally got approved for a wheelchair, so at least I can go out with my friends without feeling like my body is falling apart after just an hour. It's a huge relief. I've also started taking a few university courses just for fun, and I've been playing way too much Fallout. It's nice to lose myself in those worlds for a little while. And that's where we are right now. It's still a mess, but I'm just doing what I can to get through it all. Thanks for sticking around and following my journey. It really means a lot to me.